The new stream, bro.
Vai quicando, vai.
Whoa. Alright, chat. I don't know how good it's gonna be. But, let's see. I'm still live, bro.
Vai quicando, vai.
Whoa. Let's see.
Hello?
What's up?
What are you doing? Oh, fuck.
What's up?
Zach canceled, bro. We're gonna get you to make cookies, but if you're with the list, I'll leave you alone. Alright, bye.
Yo, what is this? Yo. Let's watch this. Horror of Application Mountains.
Imagine being able to build an app with
Horror of the Application Mountains.
your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
I love the Appalachian
Come on, Zach.
Mountains and the region around it.
Have you ever been to the Application Mountains?
Application Mountains. No.
Scariest place on earth? Let me go get my monster, bro.
Application Mountains.
It's so beautiful, it's so peaceful and eerie, and just everything I love about nature. Guys, personally, I'm from North Carolina, so I grew up around the Appalachian Mountains. I'm in Western North Carolina, and I love this region so much. But there are so many
What'd that mouth do?
horror stories, freaky stuff, sightings, weird mysteries that happen in this region, and I wanted to put it all into a video, so let's get into the horrors of the Appalachian Mountains.
Go subscribe. They're getting me subscribers to get them to 1 million, guys.
Be sure to
Look at me, bro. Look at this. Go subscribe to this guy, alright? Go subscribe to this guy. Should I be top corner instead of bottom corner? Idea. How about I'm right here?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll do it right here.
Bottom one's better.
Bottom. I'll do this bottom corner.
subscribe if you want more videos like this, or follow if you're on Spotify. I've done the horrors of the deep ocean, the horrors of Yosemite National Park.
Let me like get out of the way so y'all can see this for a second.
I love these kinds of videos, so there's gonna be a lot more in the future. Also, I have an Instagram where you can, follow me. And then I have a Discord where we can hang out and talk and stuff, so join that if you're interested. But let's get into this. The Appalachian Mountains run along the eastern side of North America, stretching roughly 1,500 miles from Newfoundland in Canada down to central Alabama in the United States. They pass through states like Maine, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Major subranges include the Blue Ridge, which
This is boring, bro. Let's get into the good part. What's this? Why did he start playing Minecraft?
in May of 1996, Julianne, or Julie Williams, and Laura, or Lolly Winans, traveled to Shenandoah National Park in Virginia for what was supposed to be a normal backcountry hiking trip. Julie was 24, Lolly was 26. They were experienced outdoors women. Lolly had worked as a wilderness guide in the past. This wasn't two people wandering into terrain they didn't understand. They brought Lolly's golden retriever, Taj, and planned a camp.
Taj, bro.
guide in the past. This wasn't two people wandering into terrain they didn't understand. They brought Lolly's golden retriever,
Taj, bro. Don't forget Taj. Yo, actually, bro. How rare is the name Taj, bro? Yo, top 5 rarest names ever, bro. Taj, alright? That's my next dog's name. Taj.
Taj.
Come here, Taj. Is he Indian, bro?
Taj, bro.
Hello, my name's Taj.
And planned to camp along trails near the Skyland area of the park. Shenandoah isn't a forgotten wilderness. It runs along the Blue Ridge Mountains, follows Skyline Drive, and sees heavy traffic, especially in late spring. The Skyland section in particular is one of the more developed parts of the park. There are lodges, maintained trails, and steady foot traffic during peak season. That context matters because this really wasn't an isolated, unreachable stretch of land. It was a national park people felt safe bringing, like, whole families and kids into. The two women were last confirmed seen on May 24th, 1996. After that, there were no verified sightings. When they failed to return or make contact, concern grew. Their vehicle was later located at a trailhead area inside the park. At some point, Taj, the dog, was found alive without them. He had not simply wandered home with them trailing behind. No, he was completely alone. Search efforts began. Shenandoah is dense in places. Trails
Taj is a skinwalker, bro. Taj is a skinwalker. I trusted you, Taj.
weave into wooded slopes and hollows. Even with marked paths, visibility changes quickly depending on weather or foliage. On June 1st, 1996, roughly a week after they were last seen, their bodies were discovered at a backcountry campsite near the Bridle Trail in the Skyland area. This is where it gets bad. It was immediately clear that this wasn't any kind of accident or a case of hikers getting lost. Both women had been bound. They had been sexually assaulted. They had been shot. The crime occurred.
Both women were sexually assaulted and shot by Taj. Taj killed both of them. And sexually assaulted both of them.
Don't remember. Taj, the dog.
Yes, their dog.
At their campsite. There were no signs they had managed to escape or signal for help. Because the murders occurred on federal land, the FBI joined the National Park Service in the investigation. The FBI joined the National Park behind. No, he was completely alone. Search efforts began. Shenandoah is dense in places. Trails
Taj is a skinwalker, bro. Taj is a skinwalker. I trusted you, Taj.
weave into wooded slopes and the hall.
It's not that bad. We're chilling. We're chilling. It's not that bad. We're chilling.
Early on, investigators had to consider the nature of the setting. A national park is public, transient, constantly shifting. Visitors move through daily. Campers arrive and leave. Someone could commit a crime and exit the area within hours, blending back into normal traffic along Skyline Drive. Biological evidence was collected, including semen samples that allowed investigators to develop a DNA profile of an unknown male suspect. In 1996, DNA technology
What samples? Semen samples. Alright? Semen samples.
existed, but was far less powerful than it is today. CODIS was still expanding and forensic genealogy wasn't yet a real thing. Investigators had a profile, but no match. The case quickly became one of the most disturbing crimes in the park's history. It also raised difficult questions about motive. Williams and Winans were a couple in 1996. Some community members and advocates questioned whether the crime may have been motivated by anti-LGBTQ bias. Law enforcement never publicly confirmed a hate crime classification, largely because there was no direct evidence establishing motive beyond the violence itself. But the possibility lingered in public conversation for years. Other theories circulated as well. Some speculated that the attack was opportunistic, a predator moving through the park who just encountered the women by chance. Others wondered whether it could be connected to other unsolved crimes in Virginia, including comparisons in media coverage to the Colonial Parkway murders from the late 1980s.
So no one heard the gunshot? No one heard the gunshot.
Law enforcement did not formally
They were both shot. There was 2 gunshots and no one heard a single one of them.
Yeah, do we know what time Gavin gets off?
9.
link the cases, but the geographic proximity kept the comparison alive. For years, the case stalled in public view. Investigators preserved the DNA evidence,
He's doing drum
I
major?
don't even know. Yo, what you up to, Hunter?
Just sitting at home working on some homework and drum major stuff.
You want to do something?
I don't know if I can right now.
Okay.
I'm low-key grounded.
Still, bro?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I'm grounded for a little bit. Even if, like, I'm being sincere, yeah. My mom's really mad at me.
Alright, bro. But
I see forever.
Why is he grounded?
line out of his ass.
Why is he grounded?
He's skipped school.
Today?
No, on senior skip day. He's lying out of his ass. I guess we could try calling Caden.
Kanan's gonna be like, oh no. Tell him we're making cookies.
Your call has been forwarded to
I'm gonna call
voice.
him immediately. Alright, bro.
No, bro, I bet like I called him. He's like, Abby, shut the fuck up. Abby, shut the fuck up. I know it sounds weird. I can call Emerson. Then there will be a gay guy. You want to call Emer?
Let's see if I can get Caden. Let me see how far we are from getting Zach. Let's go, Emmer.
Hey, you want one?
Huh? Yeah, give me half.
Here.
Or
I thought you were gonna throw it on the floor. You got any lines? Is it enjoyable? Maybe I'll whip with me, sir.
really good.
Close one.
tips came in, suspects were considered and eliminated, but there was no arrest. No public breakthrough, just 2 women who went on a hiking trip in a well-visited national park and were killed at their own campsite. By the end of the 1990s, the essential facts were that the crime was deliberate, sexually violent, and committed by a man whose DNA didn't match anybody in the federal database. Now, the DNA profile that the investigators had been able to develop from the crime scene was entered into CODIS, which is the national DNA database used by law enforcement. And over the years, as the database expanded and new offenders were added, the profile was routinely compared, but it never matched anyone. There were suspect leads. At different points, people publicly speculated about possible links to other violent offenders in Virginia. One name that surfaced in online discussions years later was Richard Evidence, a serial killer active in Virginia in the late 1990s. Law enforcement eventually ruled him out, though, through DNA testing. Other individuals were investigated and cleared. None matched the profile recovered from the scene. As forensic science advanced in the 2000s and 2010s, especially with the rise of forensic genealogy, older cases
We didn't have nobody.
Is that girl not free yet?
He said, I'm so locked up, it gonna be a while. I said, like, how long? I hate you. And he said, I called him twice.
Call Emerson.
Bro. That was good taco on one another.
I think we can do it ourselves. It just won't be deaf, blind, gay.
That it's less fun that way. Or we can wait till Gavin gets off it in an hour and a half.
9.
That takes-
That's like that time is gonna be tiring.
yeah.
Get out of the way. Get a big talking taste. I have some tacos up here. A good old taco.
Mm. You said it smelled like shit. I guess we could go pull up on Zach.
Is he still at Chobos?
It's cool.
I should probably end the stream.